Hey everyone, it's Angela Allen. Welcome back to the Handmade Homestead Garden, and welcome to my jungle. Let's go. Well, I have to admit that I haven't been out here as much as I should be. It's been very hot and very humid. And as I hinted to in my last video, we do have something going on that I want to share with all of you, just so you know about it too. And you're going to notice a little bit of difference in my filming. So I wanted you to be aware of our plans, what we're thinking of doing. And yeah. So, you know, I haven't abandoned the ship. I'm still here. I am just busy in another direction right now. It will be temporary, but it will be several months. I'm standing here underneath one of my arbors, the side arbor that leads over towards the house, and it is covered in melon plants, Chamoncino squash, and Waltham butternut squash, and it is also covered in flowers. So that means that it's covered in bees, and I'm going to hope I can do at least some part of this video with in-person talking without being stung. But we all know that getting a bee sting or two a summer, it's just kind of par for the course if you're a gardener that encourages pollinators, and I do. There is tons of stuff in this garden to harvest. The squash won't be harvested for a while because it's winter squash, but I have cucumbers that have gone well past their time. They're actually at that point where I could keep them for seeds. I'm not going to this year because of my reasoning in my news, but I do have a lot of tomatoes, regular cucumbers that are ready to pick, tons of zucchini. I just pulled out a couple of huge ones that got missed in the back of the garden. I have some really beautiful 12, 14 foot tall corn. It's glass gem corn. I was growing it for just the stalks and to put a few decorative ears on my front door, just for fall decorations, not for us to eat. But it looks like the squirrels have been having a heck of a good time eating a lot of the cobs. So that's okay, I guess, in light of our news too. All right, so let's talk about what's going on over here at the Handmade Homestead and Garden. For all of my regular subscribers, you guys know how much I absolutely am in love with every one of you. So I want you to know what's going on, just so you don't notice that things seem different. Everyone that knows me or has been following this channel for any length of time, you all know that I believe and that I teach that you can grow food anywhere that you live. You don't have to have a big garden in the country. You don't have to have a big garden like we do in an urban setting. All you need is even just the basics, a windowsill, a closet and a grow light. All of those things can absolutely be a place to grow food. And on that note, we are going to change our setting here at the Handmade Homestead Garden. We're going to keep our name, but it looks very likely that we're going to move our household south. Now, you all know that I live in coastal Rhode Island. On the East Coast, I'm in Zone 7A. Here in Rhode Island, we are on an island. Aquidneck Island has 3 towns: Middletown, Portsmouth, and Newport, Rhode Island. It is an island, Aquidneck Island. So we go on a bridge to get on our island. We go on a bridge to get off. And we are avowed New Englanders. Mike and I both have been. His family has been here in the Newport area since 1638. They actually came with the original settlers here to Rhode Island, to Newport and Aquidneck Island. And my family is back in Maine. My family hails from the Bangor, Maine area. They're kind of all over Maine, but I come from a great big Italian family. I probably have 100 cousins, if you count their wives. If you count my second cousins and now their babies, then I probably have 150 or more cousins on both sides of my family altogether. So I am a wealthy person when it comes to family. And we have always both lived in New England. I was a Navy brat, and I did travel quite a bit as a child. We did live down south a number of times for shorter periods of time, but we lived in Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana, Corpus Christi, Texas, Tennessee, which is where I learned to be absolutely in love with horses. And they have been a part of my life ever since I was 10 when we lived there, and a bunch of other states too. We were through Florida, the Carolinas, Virginias. We lived in Pennsylvania very briefly. My father did a Navy school there. Where else? Kind of all over, of course, all over New England, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maine, of course, and then Rhode Island again. And here I am, Rhode Island, a third time that I've been here. So, and I've been here now since 2006. So it's been 20 years. I love it here. Mike and I got married here in 2014. And that is an interesting story I'll share with you sometime. But for now, know that we absolutely love New England. But we have found that New England is just getting too much for us. The politics aren't our politics, which isn't a huge factor for me, but it is at least part of the picture. But the biggest part of the picture is that where we live now has really become unaffordable for people like us. Housing prices here are astronomical. People can't buy a home even if they want one. Now, we do own our home, but we just don't like how much it's been built up in this area, how difficult it is to be able to get the resources that you want, or even to be near the things you love. Rhode Island, Newport area used to be a place where you could drive downtown and see the coast and see the beaches and walk around freely and be surrounded by working fishermen and that kind of thing. And over time, Newport has become nothing but tourists. You can't even see the water when you go downtown. What you see are 5-6-story hotels. To even access the water, some places you have to actually stay at the hotel. We don't like that as native Rhode Islanders. To go to the beach, it's $25 or $35. There are places in Rhode Island now that charge you not just for parking at the beach, but they also charge you for accessing the beach. So you can pay $25 or $30 to park, and then you have to pay another $12 or $15 per person to actually get on the sand. And that is just outrageous to me, especially for native people or taxpayers that are here year-round. We're not tourists, we're here all year. So that's what I mean by politics. It's just become a place that isn't for locals, it's just for the tourist trade. So that's my talk about that. I won't go on about it, but it's one of many reasons that we've decided to move, and we're going to move south. Now, as a homesteader, I am not really looking to buy a large property of a lot of acres. We are actually looking for a coastal property that is going to be an in-town suburban lot with a small yard because we are also going to downsize. Between us, Mike and I have 4 kids. Mike's kids are much older. They're in their early 50s, and my children are in their early to almost mid 30s. So it's really just Mike and I at home. We do have one of our adult children who kind of rents a little apartment from us in the lower level of our house. But other than him, it's really just Mike and I, and we don't need, a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with, a sunroom and a living room and a kitchen and a dining room. And Mike has an office, I have an office, and this great big yard and all this food for just the 2 of us. We actually give away quite a bit of our food, and in the last week alone, I've given away, I think 12 or 15, the brown paper grocery bags you get from Aldi with the handle on them. I've given away 12 or 15 bags like that to people in my local community, just sharing the abundance. I'm not going to process really much food, so I don't want it to go to waste. So I've been really kind of sharing that. I do that every year anyway, but this year we're doing quite a bit more of that kind of community service. So we are looking at coastal Florida and South Coast, coastal Florida, so very warm. The growing zone there is going to be 10A. So it's a whole bunch of different kind of gardening. I will certainly be gardening. I will be starting from scratch on a piece of what's mostly sand there and not soil, and growing that up. Mike and I, neither one of us is somebody who would ever live in an HOA. So that's not an issue putting in a garden, but our plan at this point is to take our time and pack slowly, to downsize as we go so we don't have as much to bring, and just to small up the footprint and that we need, and the number of items that we have to be responsible for on a daily basis, because we just are looking at living the rest of our retirement life without having a lot of fires, and to put out regularly and to stoke regularly and to take care of. So our dogs absolutely are coming with us. We wouldn't go anywhere without our 2 dogs. And we are going to not have chickens most likely after we move. This is probably the last time I'll have chickens in my lifetime. And we love our hens. They're so much fun, and they do such a good job of bug cleanup in the yard. But at the same time, having that one less thing to take care of is really helpful. I do have a big fish tank with fish to rehome, and I do have a couple of frogs. They were my daughter's. I ended up with them when she moved to Georgia. And I'm not sure if we're keeping them or not. I'd like to keep them and give them back to her. She lives down in the Georgia area, but we haven't decided about them. But for sure, we do need to eat down our pantry. I do need to stop canning a ton of stuff. And yeah, it's a lot of planning. Our plan is to go from here to a rental there, and then look for the house that we want to buy. But you never know, if we find the right house before then, we might just go sooner, and we might buy instead of renting first. So absolutely, if you've done any cross-country moves like that, give me your thoughts, your experiences, your suggestions down below. I would love to hear them. Do remember that I have moved many, many times in my lifetime. Many of those moves with my family, my parents and brother family, but I'm not new to this. I've moved probably 8 or 10 times as an adult, and I'm 63. So so I do have an idea of what I'm doing, but I'm always looking for new ideas if you have any of those. So yeah, probably South Florida, probably down lower than Daytona, Vero Beach, or lower Vero Beach, Fort Pierce, that area. Excuse me, I'm stuck on a plant behind me. So that's our thought right now. Our time frame for moving is probably sometime next spring. though we could even push that off a little bit longer. We haven't really decided on the time frame, just that we think this is probably the best move for us. The beaches there are beautiful, and we are absolutely beach people. They're vast and uncrowded and pristine clean. The water is so clear you can just look down and see what's at your feet. There's a lot of dolphins and manatees and just a wonderful wildlife, and sharks, I have to say, but that doesn't worry me. We are definitely coastal people. We want to keep that coastal feel. I love the snow. I love the winter. I love the fall. I love wool and knit items. So all of that will have to change for me, but I can do cotton and silk. Silk's actually my favorite thing to spin and to weave with. So it's an adventure, but I fully intend to take the Handmade Homestead and Garden with me and to continue the channel. And it will be interesting to start with new ground and build a garden like this, but not as big, I would say, from the ground up with you. It will be a great opportunity for those of you that are new to gardening to figure out what you can do in your own yards, how you can manage to grow food for yourselves. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to kind of putting my money where my mouth is, so to speak, and proving that you can garden anywhere, no matter where you live. I mean, it's certainly easy to grow in Zone 7, but growing in Zone 10, well, that is a whole nother chapter in my life. I won't be able to bring things like rhubarb. They don't grow lilacs there. There's a few species you can try. They don't usually do great. The rhubarb for me is a catch because the rhubarb I have is my grandmother's. It was sent to me by one of my wonderful, wonderful cousins so that I could have it here in my garden. And I won't be able to take that with me because rhubarb will not survive there. You can grow it from seed, you can buy it in the store, but you cannot grow it and keep it growing. And I grow hers because it was hers. But that's all right. Another family will buy this home and they will enjoy it for many, many years. And I've brought a piece of my grandmother here to Rhode Island. So I think that right there is a win. One of the other things I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to sell all my citrus trees because you can't bring citrus into Florida for any reason. They only allow small tissue cultures that were approved by the Department of Agriculture, and you can see why, considering it's such a citrus-heavy state. But I have 4 big citrus trees, a 35-year-old lemon tree, a 15 or 20-year-old lemon tree, a 15 or 20-year-old lime tree, and then a 5-year-old orange tree. So those will have to find a new home. If you have any suggestions on where I could sell those, let me know down below, because they have quite a bit of value because of their age and that they're fruiting. But again, I can't take them with me. I would just as soon find some place for them to go that would be a good fit for them, somebody that could take good care of them. So those are our plans for now. That's the big shock and awe. I know it's kind of a surprise. It was to us too. The more we thought about it, the more we just thought it just was the best choice for our small family to downsize, but to consider moving somewhere where we don't have to shovel snow, where we can hire out our lawn care if we need to, and just concentrate more in retirement on the things that we love, which is growing food and teaching about growing food and, being at the beach and, short little excursions together for Mike and I. Let me know down below what you think about all that. I'm very eager to hear your opinions. And as always, thank you so much for supporting the Handmade Homestead and Garden. We will continue to do videos, and we are going to continue to be here and to teach stuff. And again, I am standing in a garden full of food. So we are gardening, and we will keep gardening right up until we move. And I'm hoping you will continue to share your information too. And I am dying to hear what you guys say. So until next time, I will see you again really soon. Take care.